Here's more wrestling news for November 3rd, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include: first WWE NXT 2.0 takeover event reportedly planned. Jon Moxley profusely apologized to WWE legend after Twitter gaffe. Vince McMahon repeatedly gave a 3-word warning to Jon Moxley and WWE. West Side Gun helps pro wrestler pay her wrestling school fees. GCW owner opens up about Bray Wyatt interest in working for the Indies. Bayley puts over AEW wrestler in huge fashion. Dark Order set for diaper donation meet and greet. Former WWE champion wasn't big on going to Saudi Arabia for WWE Crown Jewel, and more. We're starting off today with NXT 2.0, and after the brand's massive relaunch in September, the paint-splattered brand is getting ready for their first takeover event. That's according to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, who reports that the first special event under the NXT 2.0 banner is scheduled for December 5th, but there's no confirmation if they'll still be called takeovers. Whatever it's called, the NXT 2.0 special will be the only major WWE event to air that month, as there's no main roster pay-per-view planned, as WWE will instead focus on their Day 1 event, which will air on January 1st, 2022. The last takeover saw Samoa Joe win the NXT title from Karrion Kross, whilst Adam Cole faced Kyle O'Reilly in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and even though NXT has changed dramatically since then, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the first NXT 2.0 takeover event. This week, Jon Moxley's new book, Mox, was released, in which the former AEW World Champion discussed his lengthy run in WWE. Prior to his main roster call-up, the then Dean Ambrose had something of a story with Mick Foley, in which the pair attempted to convince the fans and the roster that there was legitimate beef between them. On one occasion, Foley warned Moxley to never discuss his family, and as it turned out, that this wasn't part of the angle. Moxley writes that whilst in Europe and believing Mick's warning to be part of their story, he tweeted about Foley's family, which led to a massive problem when the future AEW star got back to the US. My phone lit up with messages, among them several long texts from Mick asking me what my problem was. I was mortified. I would have never said anything intentionally disrespectful. I cursed my phone for blowing the biggest opportunity of my life. I profusely apologized, explaining it was a misunderstanding, and we smoothed it over quickly. Ultimately, this feud didn't lead to a match, as Foley had been long retired by 2012, and although it's good that the pair smoothed things over, Moxley learned a hard lesson about knowing what's real and what's not in the wrestling world. The hardcore legend isn't the only big name Moxley discusses in his memoir, as he also recalled some wisdom he received from none other than Vince McMahon himself. In the book, Moxley spoke about losing an untelevised match to Ted DiBiase in December 2011, 11 months before he'd make his main roster debut with The Shield. Post-match, Moxley felt that the match had gone well until he got a 3-word note from McMahon, which simply read, "Tone it down." Having the same match the next night, Moxley said he felt far more self-conscious about the match and that he felt like he was wrestling with bowling shoes on to weigh him down. The argument could be made that Moxley's entire main roster run in WWE was a toned-down version of what his fans knew him for prior to signing, and the former world champion is now much happier in AEW, where he's far more free to be himself. Not too long ago, Greg Hamilton threatened hip-hop star West Side Gun, claiming that he'd unleash WWE's lawyers on Gun for using Hamilton's voice in a recent track. Now Hamilton has been released from WWE, and Gunn is once again back in the news for a much more wholesome story. It's no secret that Gunn is a huge wrestling fan, and, while online, he stumbled across a tweet by aspiring wrestler Alexis Littlefoot, who said, "Only $500 left to pay off wrestling school." In response, Gunn shared a photo of his Cash App payment as he paid the entire $500, telling Littlefoot, "Pay that school off right now, we got work to do." An extremely grateful Littlefoot replied saying that she had quit pro wrestling for good, but donations from generous people have kept her dream alive. These are definitely the kind of positive news stories we need to hear, as Littlefoot's career in the pro wrestling industry is off to a great start thanks to West Side Gun. Now last week, Bray Wyatt's non-compete clause with WWE finally came to an end, meaning the former Universal Champion can say what he wants and appear where he wants, but he's not looking to go just anywhere. Speaking to Wrestling Inc., GCW owner Brett Lauderdale discussed Bray and said that the impression he has is that GCW isn't very appealing to the former superstar. As arguably wrestling's hottest free agent, Wyatt may skip appearing on the indies altogether in favor of a bigger company like AEW or New Japan. And although his talks with Impact fell apart, we're interested to see where he goes next. Bayley hasn't been seen in quite some time either, as she's dealing with a knee injury, but she remains active with fans thanks to social media. This week, the former SmackDown Women's Champion broke her heel persona to praise Shimmer, the women's wrestling promotion that celebrated 16 years this week. Calling it an important step in her career, Bayley also thanked Serena Deeb for helping her, saying it was an honor to have been part of Shimmer. Shimmer's alumni is like a Hall of Fame, with Bayley, Becky Lynch, Paige, Dakota Kai, Deonna Purrazzo, and The Bunny all once calling the promotion home. Deeb, who now works in AEW, was Bayley's mentor when they worked together there, and that was something the role model remains grateful for all these years later. Tonight, AEW will air from the Cable Dahmer Arena in Independence, Missouri as the road to Full Gear 2021 continues. Fans can expect to see the Dark Order on tonight's show, but some lucky fans have been paying an interesting price to get a meet and greet before the show. On social media, Alex Reynolds announced that he and Preston Vance would be meeting fans before the show, and all it costs is any size package of unopened diapers. This is all a part of a partnership with the Happy Bottoms Diaper Bank, who provide diapers to struggling parents who, for one reason or another, can't afford to buy them. With an estimated 2,600 children in Kansas City in need of diaper assistance, this meet and greet will do a lot of good to the area and give fans a chance to meet two of AEW's popular stars. And we're ending today with Edge, who kicked off Crown Jewel 2021 in a major way, defeating Seth Rollins in an epic Hell in a Cell match. This marked Edge's first match in Saudi Arabia and his first Hell in a Cell match in 13 years, but it wasn't the barbaric stipulation that had the Rated R superstar concerned. Speaking to the Kids on the Escalator podcast, Edge discussed his reservations about traveling to Saudi Arabia and how it was SmackDown official Jessica Carr who changed his tune. When they asked me about blowing off the story in Saudi Arabia, I wasn't too keen on going, I'll be honest, but as we talked and they said, we need it there, and I said, let's get Jess to ref there, not knowing if we'd be able to. She was right there for everything, not overwhelmed by the moment, and stood up to the challenge. It was really cool to see. Thankfully, the match went off without a hitch, and Carr became the first woman to referee pro wrestling in Saudi Arabian history in what many consider WWE's best Saudi show to date. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.